Madison Scott, a 20-year-old woman from Vanderhoof, British Columbia, vanished without a trace during a camping trip on May 28, 2011. Her disappearance remains one of Canada's most baffling missing persons cases, as no substantial evidence has been found to explain what happened to her. Madison was born on April 29, 1991. She enjoyed dirt bike riding, figure skating, and hanging out with her friends. She worked as an apprentice heavy-duty mechanic with her father and was looking forward to creating a solid career in the field. She was last seen at the Hogsback Lake Campground, a remote camping and recreational area about 25 kilometers or 15 miles southeast of Vanderhoof, BC. She decided to stay overnight and brought her own tent with her. Many of the partygoers left in the early morning hours, and by the time daylight arrived, Madison was gone. Her personal belongings, including her truck and her tent, were found abandoned at the site by her friend that had left the party earlier and come back in the morning, but there was no sign of Madison. Friends who were at the party reported that Madison had been upbeat and was having fun at the party that night. She was known by friends to be independent and experienced in the outdoors, making her disappearance in the rugged area all the more puzzling. There was no immediate evidence of a struggle at the campsite, but authorities never ruled out foul play. Extensive search efforts were launched, involving multiple search and rescue helicopters, cadaver dogs, and divers, scouring the lake and the surrounding wilderness in search of Madison. Searches on foot, quads, and horseback were all utilized to no avail. The helicopter even used infrared, and the boats used side-scanning sonar, but nothing was found. Despite these efforts, there was no physical evidence pointing to where Madison may have gone. Authorities also conducted numerous interviews with individuals who attended the party, as well as members of the community, but no concrete leads emerged. Over the years, police have continued to investigate, but no specific suspects have been publicly named by the RCMP. Madison's family also offered a massive $100,000 Canadian reward for any information in her case. 12 years would go by with nothing and no one saying anything about Madison's case, until all of a sudden, in May 2023, 12 years after her disappearance, Madison Scott's remains were found on a rural property on the east side of Vanderhoof, 18 kilometers away from Hogsback Lake. The RCMP executed a search warrant at the location, and the BC Coroner's Service confirmed the identification of her remains. This development marked a significant turning point in the case, transitioning it from a missing person investigation into a homicide inquiry. Police provided no details about the discovery, saying only that they were now serving a search warrant on the said property. It is estimated that for more than 3 weeks, RCMP cruisers, trucks, and a white tent canopy were visible from a gravel road near the property. As of the filming of this episode, no charges have been filed. The community remains confused, questioning what is taking the RCMP so long to provide justice to Madison's family. Even though Madison's remains have been recovered, so many questions linger. How did Madison disappear? How did her remains end up 18 kilometers from the lake in a rural area? If the police know whose property she was buried on, why has it been 2 years with no charges? How did the police find her remains in the first place? They clearly knew exactly where to look. On which property as they attained a search warrant to dig there. Was it a tip that was reported in from someone who knew something? Finding Madison's remains are a measure of closure for her family, but what actually happened to her? Now we will offer a few theories and speculations. Theory number 1. Madison left willingly with her killer. From the onset, law enforcement considered foul play a strong possibility. The fact that there were no signs of a struggle instantly raised suspicions. The area around Hogsback Lake is remote, and while the party was attended by numerous individuals, the transient nature of the attendees made it challenging to identify any potential suspects. Over the years, the RCMP conducted numerous interviews and polygraph tests, but no arrests were made. It is possible that Madison left with an acquaintance or someone she knew. The area around Hogsback Lake is remote, and while that way she would have been comfortable leaving her truck there, assuming she would be driven back to it later. Theory number 2. Madison was abducted from the campsite. No evidence left at Madison's tent or inside her truck indicates that she was forcibly removed from the campsite, but this possibility remains viable due to the fact you are not always at your tent when camping, especially when it is a party campsite with your friends. Did Madison get abducted on her way to the camp washroom, or maybe on a late night walk between sites? The probability of this remains high, and due to lack of evidence or any witness testimonies about her last moments at the lake, it's hard to know. Theory number 3. An accident took Madison's life. From the results of the extensive search and her body not being found in the lake the day after she disappeared, it is not likely that a drowning or some other type of accident happened to Madison. Even if she accidentally drowned in the lake that night, someone must have moved her body 20 kilometers away to where she was found. The only other evidence supporting the accident theory would be if her remains were found out in the open and not buried, indicating that she may have gotten lost and died from exposure. But this remains extremely unlikely due to the distance, and it's only speculative as the police have never confirmed the circumstances around her death. Madison's death seems to have some level of secrecy surrounding it when it comes to the police investigation. Why haven't the police released more information about the property owners? Are they even suspects? How did the police get that tip? What are the circumstances around Madison's demise? It seems more information could be released by the police without compromising the investigation, but for some reason, they are choosing not to release it. Madison's case continues to baffle the public, and until charges are laid by the RCMP, there is nothing anybody can do except wait. Hopefully the police will soon release details about the site where her body was found, and her family will get the answers they deserve. On June 3rd, 2023, a vigil was held at the Nechako Valley Secondary School, memorializing Madison. On May 28th, 2024, the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Service, published an article confirming that there were still no updates from the RCMP, and even though her body had been recovered, the RCMP were still seeking tips and witnesses. The Vanderhoof mayor was also interviewed, and he stated that he still has full confidence the RCMP will solve this case. On February 5th, 2025, the police reconfirmed that the investigation has not been closed and is still ongoing, despite the recovery of Madison's remains over 2 years earlier. The Scott family has also confirmed that they continue to offer the $100,000 Canadian reward. The media played a crucial role in maintaining public interest in Madison's case. Local and national outlets regularly covered anniversaries of her disappearance, and true crime platforms dedicate episodes to her story. The discovery of her remains in 2023 reignited the media attention, leading to renewed discussion about what happened to her and additional appeals for any information. Madison belonged to the very small community of Vanderhoof, BC, a town of only 4,300 people. And in a community that small, the disappearance of any person becomes all-consuming. The loss of someone as young and as vibrant as Madison has brought the whole town together in their grief to keep the quest for answers in her case alive. Her disappearance profoundly affected her community, her family, and her friends. Her family has organized annual events, such as the Madison Scott Poker Ride, to maintain public awareness. The case also highlighted the challenges that law enforcement agencies face when investigating disappearances that happen in remote, rugged locations where limited evidence is available. The discovery of her remains has provided some closure to her family and community, but the quest for justice in this case continues.